What's up guys, today we're going to be doing the Sex Machine Racing clutch springs on our Benelli TNT135 here. Alright, so we're going to go over the proper tools that we'll need here. I use an electric drill just because I like doing stuff faster, it makes it way more efficient. But you're going to need a 13mm socket, a 12mm socket, a 10mm socket, and an 8mm socket. You're also going to need an extension. We got the pry bar here, pliers, and the springs obviously. Cut this out, grab your oil drain pan, and we have this bolt right over here. On the left side of the bike, we have this one. This is going to be your oil drain plug. Just pop that out, drain all the oil out of it, because we will be opening the right side, which would leak all the oil out. So this is just going to be a precautionary measure so we don't get too messy. So we're going to break out the 12mm. We're going to take off this little line here because it attaches to this cover, and we got to take that cover off. Alright, so now that we've got that out, we are going to have all these 8mm the entire way around. But before we do that, we're going to have to take off this little clutch cable. Up on your handlebar, I'll show you here, we have our little adjuster. If you feel this rubber back, we're going to want this the entire way in, and that means it'll be as loose as it possibly can be. So after you have it adjusted up at your handlebar, mine was already maxed out, so that's cool. It gives you a bunch of adjustability. We're going to use our pry bar now, and see here, I believe this is actually my first bike, so don't quote me on any of this stuff. I do know what I'm doing, but I don't know parts yet. Starter, whatever this black solenoid looking thing is back here, we're actually going to put the pry bar on that bolt, and we're going to push this little clutch arm out with that. You can see it moving there. Just work with it. I found that pliers sometimes help for this as well. I need about 8 hands right about now so I can hold all of this stuff. There we go. And just wiggle him out. There we go. So here, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about now that we're off. So you can see the metal end there. And then on this side, you have that hole and then little slot. This metal piece is actually not thin enough to slide out the slot. That's why you have to get it the whole way back so you can get the wire or cable to slip out of that slot. Using my drill, an extension, and then an 8mm. We're just going to take all of these off the entire way around. Alright, so now I have the cover off, and you can see this would have been attached, and then this. So we'll set that off to the side here, and these are going to be your clutch springs behind these 4 bolts. We don't want this plate here to flex and bend out of shape, so what we're going to do is take these off in a 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern, and those are going to be the 10mm. So to start them off, until they get a little bit more loose, you're going to have to use a little ratchet here and just slowly start loosening them. And then just go around town. Alright, so that will take that plate off. You're going to pop out your 4 stock springs, and then you're just going to pop on the 4 aftermarket springs. You can see next to the stock ones that they are the same size. They are like a little bit thicker, and if you squeeze both of them, they honestly don't feel very different. So we'll see how they compare, I guess. Yeah, so we gotta grab our plate again, grab those 4 bolts, and now for this, just so you don't cross thread anything, I would start these all by hand, just pushing the spring. The manual that was included in the springs, it said that these should be torqued to about 7 pounds. I don't have a torque wrench that goes to 7 pounds, so I'm just using my little teeny weeny ratchet here. They will keep going for quite a while, because you have to compress them obviously. So don't be worried about it, just keep going. They will eventually get tight. Alright, there we go. So that one got tight. We're going to go to the second position, because remember 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one was snug. Remember, this is 7 foot-pounds that they're supposed to be torqued to, so that's not much at all. So this little tiny, I'm using about 2 fingers here. That's about how much I'm pushing down. Alright, they're all snug, nice and ready to go. So whenever I did this the first time, because I did it once just to figure out everything that I was doing, and this piece fell out. It was just laying on the ground. It took me literally an hour to find out where it went. So it goes in here. If you look inside there, there is a bar, and that bar just goes, or this goes around that bar in there. So just in case that happens to somebody else, because I was sitting searching for a while. The other thing is your little clutch fork, I guess what you could call it. This thing in here. This is supposed to be like flat, and whenever the clutch fork is pulled by the wire, you know, it lifts that up and pushes on your little plate here. That was popped out for me as well. Like I said, it might not happen to you, but it might. This will be really, really hard to catch on video, but the shaft that runs the whole way down in here has a little notch cut out of it. So if you just push it down, because it is spring loaded here at the bottom, if you just push that little fork down and then slide this in, this will be flush with this little piece here. So I couldn't really do it on video. I kind of have to hold it closer to my body. But now you can see that whenever this clutch fork is pulled towards us, which would be pulled by the wire here that we took off, it pushes that little pin out, and I just already popped it out of place. It's really easy to get back in place like I already have it. You just have to find that notch in your little shaft. Like I said, that will push on this, and then that way you can change gears and stuff. So you do want to make sure that that is in place, because you may not be able to change gears with your new clutch spring. Now we can throw it back on. Don't forget, whenever you're putting these 8mm bolts back in, to reattach this bracket. So they go in the top 2 here. And then we're just going to blap those on the whole way around. We're going to be attaching this here doodad, oil return line or something, I'm not sure what it is, but this is the 12mm. You do have some copper crush washers here, so we'll make that pretty snug just to make sure we don't leak any oil. And yeah, I already snugged down all of those. So the last thing we have to do here is just reattaching this. So we're going to get our pry bar back out. I have to push it pretty far, honestly. There we go. So you'll just slip that guy in there. Make sure I'm actually recording. And slowly release it. There we go. I tried doing this with my hand. This is entirely too tight. Like I said, with those new springs, way too tight. So the pry bar is the best method I've found. Now we gotta fill it up with oil. So this is our oil fill here. Okay, so I took it for a decent little ride, and the clutch was honestly like way softer in like every aspect, like mechanical, the handle, everything. So I came up here to that adjustment that we closed the entire way to start it out, to get that off of it down here, and just backed it out just a little bit. You can see it's not very much there, but it has no play back and forth. It did have a little bit of that, and now that is much stronger than it was before. You can definitely feel the difference now.